All right, so here with Moe Hirsch of Moe's CAMS. So tell me about your company. Tell me what you're up to.
So Matthew, first of all, thanks for having me on. Don sent me your way, and I'm really pleased to be here.
Yeah, cool.
So we are in the plumbing, heating, and cooling market. We do all plumbing, heating, and cooling from a design and consulting side all the way through the mechanical side. That's why our company is called Moe's CAMS, Consulting and Mechanical Services.
Makes sense.
Um, Rooted very, very deeply in the hydronic market, which is, I guess, how me and you get to talk.
Yeah, yeah. So it's funny because the first time I heard about you was actually on another podcast where you spoke about buffer tanks for like 2 hours. And I think I listened to almost the whole thing. You can really talk about buffer tanks. So you obviously have a passion for the hydronic side.
Yeah, I gotta have a passion. There's a lot of stuff in the market that people don't know, and people are overlooking today, especially with the high efficiency boilers. So I try to understand how to leverage the physics side of it. So if it works well on the non-condensing, it's going to work even better on the condensing.
Yeah, definitely. So why hydronics? Like, why is that the specialty you focus on?
So when I left my boss, I think it was back in 2010. It was in 2010. I was in the middle of switching over, about to switch over my grandparents' boiler system. They had two cast iron boilers, and back then, in 2010, the hydronic market was very strong. However, the high efficiency market was very weak.
Right.
It was Lockheed. There was a lot of other manufacturers out there, but it was still new technology. So I ended up going with a buffer tank system, a 2-to-1, two boilers, two 90,000 BTU boilers with a Techmark control.
Sure.
And my question always was, how much more efficient could I have gotten had I gone with a modulating condensing boiler? And I remember this one guy telling me from the RPA, which is the Radiant Professionals Alliance, how I was good for like another 30%.
Really?
So I said to myself, wow, like 30%. I mean, and the other thing that really kicked it off was before I did it, I'd read all Dan Holohan's books and been to some of his seminars, and everybody said how what I was about to do, on my drawing didn't make sense. I was like, guys, I read it in the book.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and did it, and just like when I hit home, I had a couple good pictures. I was able to show people stuff, and I was just started diagnosing. Whenever somebody brought a problem up, I just said, somebody's going to solve it. May as well be me. So we just
Yeah.
pressed on.
No, that's cool. So you just sort of learned by doing and read the books and got a
Yeah,
knack for it, I guess. Yeah.
a lot of forums. YouTube wasn't as strong back then. A lot of training. Went down to Tennessee to the Lockheed factory. Got to play with the boilers, those little makeshift little stands where you could test and they try to figure out a problem.
Oh,
And that's
nice.
like what started it.
Cool. So one of the reason that Don told me to like reach out to you was the way he described you was the hardest working guy I know, right? So so tell me where you get that from. What's going on there? I guess you're working just all the time trying to grow your business.
So I got a good one for you. Um,
Yeah.
uh, you know, Most of your customers are B2B, meaning you're a business to another business, and you're, I guess the plumbers. You guys sell directly to plumbers or to supply houses?
Supply houses.
Supply houses. So you guys have to get the supply house comfortable enough to then sell it to a plumber, who then has to get comfortable selling it to um, to the end user.
Yeah.
The end user wants it, they need it. Everybody's got to have heating, right? You live in Canada. It's not warm. No palm trees.
No, that's right.
So everybody's going to have a boiler. So now the question is, whose boiler are they going to have? Are they going to have a Lochinvar, or are they going to have somebody else's boiler?
Yeah.
And along that chain of you guys to the plumbing companies to the stores in between, there are a lot of clock punchers. Everybody's just punching the clock, getting in, getting out, and TGIF,
Yeah.
and all.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't run that way because, for a little bit extra energy, it's difficult to run a business. It's difficult to work. So for a little bit extra energy, you go from like benchmark to go to amazing. So everything that if I'm not the hardest working person in the company, I can't expect the other guys to be working. It's 9:05 and I still have two guys on a job site doing wiring. And they
Yeah.
started no later than 8:30 this morning. So I break it down and I say like, I got to work hard because I want them to work hard, and I want them to work hard because I want our time to be dense. I can either have a ton of people with a ton of liabilities, everybody ends at 4 o'clock, or everybody gets a little overtime. And
Yeah.
it gets like a competition. Everybody's in competition. What would Mo think about? Maybe I have a better idea. So the hardworking part is just, there are no other options. This is 2020. Now it's Corona. If you weren't hardworking, you're Netflixing.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. You're just sitting on the couch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you've obviously developed this particular like culture with your guys in your company, right? It's like you're going
Yeah.
hard all the time, trying to grow the business, trying to, design jobs, get into doors and stuff like that. So are you working like just like on referral? Are you doing advertising on your for your company, or how are you growing?
We do a little bit of everything
Yeah.
because there's no one metric that works, and there's no one metric that I want to bank on.
Yeah.
So I do not advertise as far as money goes, but I do put out on free advertising, which is, hey, your social media. So
Yeah.
I'm always pushing out to my customers. They like me, they watch me, they want to see what I'm into, what we're doing for the day, what type of projects we're up to. So they get interested. Now, once they get interested, that's my free marketing channel. I've got,
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and they're always on top of it. They're always reaching out and saying, so now I've got one avenue of marketing. Now, the other avenue of marketing is when somebody has a problem, you can impress them. So everybody's time is worth money, whatever you equate that to. So you can either have this big advertising budget, or you can take that advertising budget and say, hey, when I get in front of a customer, and I'm a plumber getting in front of a customer, or I'm a store getting in front of my plumber. Once you get their attention, just give it all. Because if you're not giving all the attention to them, then you're getting stuck. And if you're not giving them the attention, then who you're going to put? You're going to put an ad in front of somebody who's just going to look at it and flip away. Keep on scrolling. So I'm very big into investing in the customer, investing in their customers' friends, trying to solve people's problems. And what ends up happening is you comes into a domino of referral based, but it's advertising dollars spent instead of advertising. It's being
Right.
spent on the people that are already looking at you.
So it's interesting. I was thinking about this a little bit beforehand, and I feel like there's a lot of, mechanical companies that there's like a few different ways that they sell themselves, right? They sell like there's guys who, try and go in and just sell on price, right? There's guys that try and go in and sell on like features and benefits. I get the feeling that you sort of go in and sell on your knowledge of just the system of the products, how to solve problems, how to service, that kind of thing. Is that accurate for you guys?
Yeah, that's accurate. But one of the big mistakes that I sold for many years was on features and not on benefits. I
Yeah.
would sell, it's a good pipe instead of saying, I can make you comfortable for a long time. That's a benefit. Anybody can buy a certain product. It's can you put it in? Can you support them? Can you supply them?
Yeah.
I have a nice little saying that is plumbing, heating, and cooling is not a commodity. It's a service. You get what
Hmm.
you pay for.
Yeah, for sure. So where do you see the market going? Like where do you see the technology going? Any particular thoughts or direction you see it going in?
I think that for now, I think we've plateaued a little bit.
Yeah.
I take a look at a lot of the European companies to see what they're doing, to see what direction. I think for a time we were going down high turndown ratios and then backing off the high turndown ratios. I definitely see that we're going to units that are working on lower gas pressure, be more withstanding. And on some parts, we're seeing units that are more complex, and on some parts, we're seeing units that are not as complex with the with the boiler. So we've got that new, like, simple startup 5 steps, punching some number, and then we've got the other ones that look like a tablet on the front.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely the direction. So Lochinvar, I know for sure, is going in that direction, right? They have their sort of entry level, and then they have their premium, right? And everyone's sort of got to have that. So
yeah.
So what do you think are some good pointers for guys in your position to gain more business or sell more product?
So number one is sales training. Everybody could use it. Everybody says you need to be a born salesman, and I think it's 100% incorrect. You can be trained. You may not be as good as somebody who was a born salesman with training, but you're going to be as good with him if you get training. And what do I mean by that is, most of the stuff in this industry is, you start working. They teach you how to solder, teach you fittings. Maybe they teach you how to greet a customer, but they don't teach you how to sell your product. So in the end of the day, when you're in a customer's house and they've got an old rusty cast iron boiler that's got a leak on it, and they say, what am I going to get? And you'd be like, well, you got to get this Lochinvar boiler because it's all gimmicky. It's got this big tablet, and they're like, well, it's a boiler. It's going to sit down there. Nobody's going to look at it. Yeah. So instead of going ahead and going to tell the customer, okay, well, you need it because it's the latest and greatest, you have to find out what is important to the customer. What are they looking to solve? What type of car do they drive? Do they like tech? Do they like being green? And then you got to turn it back to kind of what we mentioned offline of features and benefits. There's a line that somebody told me, which is amateurs sell on features, pros sell on benefits. So you got to basically tie that back, and you got to sell them on benefits. Once you go ahead and you sell them on the benefit, now you can kind of follow up and try to actually get the close. But one of the biggest holes in the mechanical field is that you've got bosses that are not training their technicians how to sell. So when something breaks, your frontline men are not trained how to sell the product, and they're not trained how to answer the right questions or ask the right questions to the customer. So one of the biggest things is you got to parallel train. Everybody goes ahead and you're training the guys toilets, Lochinvar, combustion, and then they're like all the way on the bottom, like your manners, and that's about it. Like teach the guy your manners, protect the customer's house, combustion, and then how to ask the right questions so you could sell them a new circulator.
Yeah,
and if you're selling more circulators and you're keeping people in business and keeping people happy, then when they come down to the sale, they're going to say, hey, I need a Lochinvar because that guy always does good stuff, and he said I owe it to him. Not sure if that answers the question.
No, it definitely answers the question. Sorry, I thought you froze for a second. No, I think that's great actually. Like you're totally right about that, right? Like people are so focused on the mechanical side, they're so focused on the features, just like you said, that they're not really. I find with all the people that I deal with, that's a common issue, is that not everyone in the company knows how to sell, right? Some guys know how to solder, but they don't know how to talk to a customer. And you're totally right. There should be sales training from top down. So we've run pretty long here. We're at about 20 minutes. Anything else you want to say? Where do people follow you? You got your Instagram?
So the best place to find me is turnupthecomfort.com. I generally run 3 shows a week. I run a $1 Million Bungalow show. Shows everybody what the $1 Million Bungalow is. People trying to make big buildings, big houses for pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
Usually getting a lot of junk. I run a comfort show in the middle of the week. Anything to do plumbing, heating, cooling, but anything to do with based around your comfort. And then at the end of the week, I do a more of a technical thing. It's called a magazine article review, where I break open a magazine. See an article from Ziggy, Dan Holohan, anybody in the market over there, whether it's a pumps and systems, we'll break it down, and then I'll give my little insight based on that. So that's on the turnupthecomfort.com site. And then on top of that, Facebook, it's facebook.com/the Moe Hirsch. And on Instagram, it's Moes PNH. It's MOES P&H.
Awesome. That's amazing. Talk about hardest working guy, right? That's plenty of stuff. Yeah, it's plenty of stuff. All right, thanks. I appreciate this.
Listen, you got to get me this recording so I can post it by me and I could send it out and push more people to you.
Yeah, no, for sure. We'll do.